Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Beluga the Jaegerist, and today we're finally going to be talking about Season 1. Now, I mentioned, I think about a month ago, that I did a video about Season 2 and how Season 2 is underrated, right? And how everyone picks on Season 2. And I said I will also make a video about Season 1. Now, I made a meme, which is right here, and I truly believe that meme. That meme is definitely true to me, because I always say, okay, they may say, well, what's the best season? Well, some of you guys may like Season 3, maybe Season 3 Part 1, Part 2, maybe you guys like Season 4 Part 2, right? Maybe like the Marley arc, right? But to me, it's like you're degrading, Season 1, which you're probably not, but, that's what browsing Titanfolk will do to you. I'm thinking, well, you're not appreciating Season 1, which again, I don't think most of you guys are, but I'm here to just make a video saying just how great Season 1, how Season 1 really couldn't have gotten any better. Alright, so, first off, obviously, is all the foreshadowing, right? So, you'll think I'll die in a place like this, which is what Eren says when he's going to tie his mouth at Armin. If you want to say make a son Armin and everyone else, which is what Grisha says to Eren, which is what Kruger says to Grisha, which is what Eren says to Kruger, which is, a pretty cool thing there. We have, Dina, right, obviously being the thing there. We have all the force time with, not only Annie, but with Reiner and Berthold as well. We just have, a bunch of force time. And again, this is I would say a minor thing, but that's why I'm putting it first. Alright, so the second thing is, which is actually part foreshadowing too, Eren and Annie's conversation during the, training arc. Now, that is tip-top dialogue. See, different people had their clicking moment, where they realized, wait a second, this isn't a normal show. This is something else. I'm witnessing something different here. Right? For some people, maybe it was the Berthold Reiner reveal. Maybe it was the fact that, which would really, when Hannes didn't come in and save the day. Maybe it will be when Eren didn't save the day. Maybe it will be when the Surah Corps consistently kept taking L's after L's after L's after L's after L's. In fact, I'd say the only time they actually got a W, really was never. But, I mean, when they got to the basement, I guess you could say they got a W, but, our heroes never really won, right? Maybe it was the fact that our villains never got revealed, right? But this maybe should have tipped some people off, because this is tip-top dialogue here. So she's talking to Eren about, the inner workings of the political zeitgeist in Eldia, a parody. She's talking about why the people who are the best playing Titans go to be in farthest away from them. She also talks about her dad being carried away with ideas that have nothing to do with the real world, which of course is foreshadowing to the whole, Eldian devil stuff. And also might be talking, and this is a little bit of a reach here, but also might be talking about Eren and his ideal of freedom. Maybe, yeah, who knows. But, I can't exactly recall from memory, but if you go back and watch that conversation, there's a lots of good stuff in there. I just give a few just to justify it being here, but it's tip-top dialogue. Okay, now the other thing is we actually have really, really good character introductions here. Right, obviously we got the main trio, except for maybe Armin. Armin don't even get an introduction, right? We got Eren. We got first off, we like the fact that Eren did not get spurred on to fight Titans because his mom died. We like that, because usually the protagonist, something bad happens to him, and then all of a sudden, he does whatever, right? The best example of this would be Batman, right? He's a, chill dude, parents get murdered, then all of a sudden he's a vigilante, right? This is not the case with Eren. Eren is just ideologically opposed to living in walls. Period, discussion. And then it got extra personal. I always say it got personal, but it didn't really get personal. It was already personal beforehand. Then it got extra personal when something close was taken to him. Closer than what was already taken from him. But it got extra personal, right? And we also get dual character introductions with the kidnappers, right? We got Mika's character introduction, and we got Eren's character, more introducing of who exactly Eren is, right? We also got Squad Levi, right? We're steadily building these characters. We're writing good dialogue. We're writing, we have a lot of world building. I mean, they have their kills up there. We see the relationship with each other. We see that with their apology to Aaron. We actually get a lot of good stuff, right? Usually when authors have a character like that, they're just going to get killed off later on in the season. They wouldn't really put much into them. Isayama puts as much as he can in that little amount of time. We also have Jean, who's steadily built up over season 1 as well. If you actually go back and look at season 1, a lot of his traits are actually, and his nuances are actually there to begin with. Of course, we have, I would say, gag, but after 139, I don't think it's much of a gag anymore. The running gag where he's in love with Mikasa. Right? Of course, we have beautiful hair. In the cabin, right, we have him fighting with Aaron. We have his pragmatic way of thinking when they're in the barracks. Maybe not barracks, but you know what I'm talking about. The mess hall, the cafeteria, chow hall, whatever you want to call it. About fighting Titans. He's the one who brings up, and maybe this is in the anime, but he brings up for every 30 people that go out, for every 30 people that go out, one person comes back or something like that. Yeah, it's like a 30 to 1 kill ratio. So he's very pragmatic, and of course we see this all the way throughout, where at the end he's the first one to bring up, hey, Aaron's kind of right here to the Alliance, right? He's the first one because he's like, well, he's the pragmatic type. We see this, his good character introductions, good character building here. We also have Historia, which I'm going to talk about more about, but Historia is introduced well as, the kind girl, does everything, for everybody, tries to make everyone happy. Even though it's not her real persona, you can start putting an asterisk on that and still introducing us to Krista, you could say, right? So, and again, you cannot have character development without character introductions. This is why I say all the seasons are pretty much equal in my mind, because without season 1, you couldn't really have season 3, right? Oh, and speaking of character introductions, I completely forgot. I was going to move on to my next point, but I completely forgot. Commander Erwin. Commander Erwin is just blanketly put out as just a horrible person, right from season 1, right? Not only that, but we see his cunning and crude intelligence at play. We see his strategical mastermind and the sacrifices he's willing to get that. And not only that, but the planning, which I guess sort of counts as strategical, but he is, so we get a bunch of things about his character in, one season. We get his planning, not only his planning, which is with the 57th expedition, which is my next point, actually, but with the 57th expedition, but his entire plan in general to get the Silver Corps to be on good terms with the rest of the people, right? Because, again, the Silver Corps was in hot water because they were, come on, guys, they were accomplishing, nothing. And they were accomplishing nothing, and they were just wasting, not only other people's lives, but they're wasting a bunch of money, which I'm sure could have been used elsewhere, because the people were, they were in walls. And he's saying, well, that's not fair, the royals were rich. I get that. I'm just saying they had a reasonable claim to make this Dark Horse shouldn't be around anymore. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with them. I'm saying they had a reasonable claim, right? This channel is not my opinion. I'll tell you when I give my opinion. But we see his planning, his cunning, his ruthlessness, right? We see all this, and we see his knowledge of human nature. I'd say I wrap into that as well, because not only with his plan to change public opinion, which you have to be talented in multiple areas to do that, but also his famous question, who do you think the real enemy is here? Which goes to my first point, is the foreshadow, right? These are all hints. This show is not normal. This is a great season. It's a great show, right? And now my next thing, which I just talked about, is the 57th expedition. That is something that I really appreciate and really like, especially again for a first season anime, because not only is it a really good development in the plot, not only is it a really good thing in general, it's a really unique thing to have. Maybe not unique, but it's really cool. It's really thought out. It's really well done in the first season. Again, people say the first season's trash. It's basic. It's boring. I don't know about that. No, I think you're just dead wrong. But the 57th expedition really should tell you, hey, maybe it's not that as bad as you think it was. Now, the next thing is it has very powerful emotional moments. Now, again, this is somewhat subjective. So again, you don't have to take this. You can skip on if you want to, but this show does a really, really good job of invoking strong emotions. That's exactly what you want an author to do: invoke strong emotions, especially when you have the luxury of having an anime. You're gonna want to invoke strong emotions. We have, of course, Aaron's mom dying. That's pretty well done. We have Aaron taking the kill of the Titans. That's pretty well done. We have when Aaron comes back from the Survey Corps, right? When they come back from, I think it's actually from the 57th expedition. Yeah, it's from the 57th expedition. They come back, and he's just like, he's in the car, he's injured, and he starts crying. And Mika says like comforting him. I did this because that's what he was doing in the car. But it's the music is right, that everything's right, the drawing's good. It's just, maybe it didn't hit you like it hit me, but it's just really powerful. That time, you may have forgotten this, but that time when that guy in the supply room was cleaning out that shotgun and then put it in his mouth and shot it, right? That was pretty. That just sunk your heart and gave you just despair, right? We got Marco as well. We got a Petra. Not only Petra dying, right? Which the reason I bring up Petra again, I really, really, really hate when people talk about Petra all the time. There's 4 people died, and he killed 4 people in Squad Levi, not just Petra. I'm not bringing up Petra because she's the cute popular girl. I actually despise her. I'm actually sort of happy she died. Not really, but you know what I mean. The reason I'm bringing up Petra is because not only did she die, and not only did Aaron have a relationship with her, not only was she introduced really well, right, she also had to have her body thrown out of the car that they were bringing them back on, right? All very good emotional moments there. And then on top of all, if that wasn't enough to have that girl die after all they went through, to have her body be thrown out, not even have a proper burial by her own captain, no less. But her father, with the letter, he's like, oh, she wants to marry you, but she's so much ahead, and they leave her just staring right ahead. It's just, tragic. Now, yes, I know it showed other families, but it was not as powerful as when Petra died. But again, I'm not a Petra. I don't like Petra at all. The reason I don't like her is because you guys made it like that. You guys fawned over her for no good reason. Of course, I think I already brought up Marco. All right, so next is the world building, right? So you're going to want in your first season to have a lot of world building. You're introducing your characters to your audience to a brand new storyline, plot, narrative, characters, setting, everything, time period, everything. So you're going to want a world build. So what he does, he gives us these info cards. He shows us the walls, right? He shows us, they talk about their history together. It's like I know it's in volume 2, but I don't know where it is in the anime, but they do talk about how the Titans showed up 100 years ago and such and such happened, and they went into the walls. We have the church, and speaking of the church, funny enough, the church is saying that the Titans are a punishment for their sins. Sound familiar? It's King Fritz. It's King Fritz. The foreshadowing there is insane. But so we have in the church, we have the 3 different regiments, right? We have the military. We have our commander, right? We have all this stuff. We have the info cards, and they just do a generally good job of world building and letting us know exactly what's going on. How much land they have. They have the forest as well. They have. Sasha just a little note. Sasha talks about the meat. How to have enough land to make enough meat. So meat's a luxury. That's just a good way to just world build and really introduce your audience to the setting that this is happening in. Now this is sort of it's used a little bit of an asterisk, but Historia, or should I say Krista. Now, Krista was a basic bitch the entire time. I probably shouldn't say it. Historia was a basic person, a basic anime girl the entire time. So, we all thought, oh, she's just a girl there to look cute and blah, 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 right? She's a love interest, okay, whatever. But we get to see this was actually a charade that was formed because of her, her past, right? And this sort of setup, which is done in season 1, again, the payoff in season 3 could not have happened without the setup in season 1. So season 1 is underrated for the fact that it did that subverting expectations is the proper term for that. in season 1. Now the last thing, which would be the Stohess fight. Actually, no. I actually want to talk about another conversation that Annie had, which was in Stohess, actually, with Marlo and the gang, right? Now, this is, again, another piece of excellent dialogue. And maybe I'll lump this in with Armin, too, with her conversation with Armin, too. But she's talking about how most people are like her, which she's correct. Which is funny because most of the people she's talking to, actually we'll learn in the military place, most of the people that would hear her in Stohess, or maybe outside of Stohess, most likely, would actually become Jaegers and support the Rumbling. Now, I'm not going to say the Rumbling is bad, okay? My name is Beluga the Jaegers. I'm just saying, same reason why Aaron did the Rumbling is pretty much the same reason why Annie did what she did, okay? So, we can disperse with that. But she talks about how they get swept along the current whatever, right? The example I always use about this is the whole picture of everyone saluting and the guy's crossing his arms, right? Those are all normal people. Those are all nice, normal, cordial, friendly people who are doing the Nazi salute, right? Those people who, as Annie would say, get swept up along in the flow, right? Or, as she would more harshly put it later on, worthless and evil. And people who do not do that are special, right, as she says herself. And it's, again, there's more to that, but it's just an excellent piece of dialogue. It's actually more of a monologue, actually. It's a monologue, and it's very good. It's very indicative of human nature. I really like it. It's perfect. And I'm actually going to do a video about the military police not being as bad as you think they are. And, of course, it pretty much says that same thing. The military police is just made up of people, so the military police isn't really the problem. It's the people that make up the military police. Something along those lines. Again, watch the scene for yourself or reread it if you want. Now, next, the last thing, which is the Stohess fight between Aaron and Annie. Now, there's a couple things. Now, number one, right off the bat, you're probably thinking about this, is the foreshadowing, which is not what I want to talk about, but we can bring it back in. Another instance of foreshadowing. Aaron says, "It's the anime only, he will, quote, destroy the entire world." We have that. Now, another thing we have is we have Aaron's evil side coming out, right? I always say Aaron was always willing to slaughter people to get his goals. That was never off the table for him at all. And we see this in Stohess, and it's funny because us, the audience, were asking, how do we miss this before? We see him carelessly going around, smashing buildings, throwing stuff into this, throwing stuff into that. Meanwhile, Annie's trying to tiptoe around stuff and make sure she doesn't kill anybody. When she does, cause proper damage, there's a visible look of distress on her face. Aaron has no problem. Just carries two things, chases her around, does whatever the hell he wants to do. And you could say, well, she's the bad guy to stop her and justify the means. She was more powerful than him. She can be more finesse. Yeah, I get it. But still, even the fact that he just shows no concern at all for other people's lives is, again, indicative of his innate nature. Like, he is not really as good as you think you are, as good as we think he is. And another thing to this point is that in season 1, Levi says that he's a monster, but not because he can turn into a Titan. And actually, that's not my last thing. I actually forgot a point, which would be, speaking of the Forest of Giant Trees, his decision in the Forest of Giant Trees, which is a really, really good, I don't know what to call it, another proper term for that. I really like it because it goes against what most shows do, right? And it's, again, it's one of the most misunderstood things in the story, right? Levi tells him to trust in his comrades, right? Trust in his comrades, and they end up capturing him. And then later he decides, Levi says, do whatever we're good to least, and later he decides, I should have never trusted them. They would have all been killed, right? And then he decides to transform himself. This is the moment where he's supposed to win. This is the moment where he's supposed to go, and beat up the bad guy and save the day and all this other stuff. But it's not. He really doesn't do anything. He actually gets eaten by Annie with ease. In fact, he gets eaten so easily that she's toying with him to begin with. And then when she decides to, she just kicks him and then chews him up. And if it wasn't for Levi and Mikasa Ackerman, he'd be in some, Marley Eldian stomach right now. So the question is, well, did he make the right decision? Now, there's really no answer to that. And that's the point. There really is no answer to that. It's a gray area. Attack on Titan's all about gray areas and nuances. It's like any spoon-feed you simple answers, right? And that's why I love this show so much. It has audiences split, and they both have equal justifications for what they're doing. Somewhat, right? It's like, well, should Aaron have trusted his comrades? Oh, maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe he should. I don't really know, right? But it's up for the viewer to decide, because if he would have transformed earlier, he would have just gotten eaten earlier, and who knows what would have happened to him, right? So that's the video. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope all you season 1 apologists really like this one, because I haven't seen a few people who don't like how much crap season 1 gets, because it's actually much better than most people think. Anyway, I already said this, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.